My name is Connor.
My name is Rye.
And we are the hosts of the pod. Why don't you describe what the pod is?
The pod is a show where we interview, well, I don't want to say interview, it's more like we have conversations with teachers. We're going around the school and we're talking to teachers, and we're trying to go through the whole school, and it's to inform freshmen who don't know what any shops are like or what any teachers are like, and for people who are going into a new year and don't know anything about their teachers.
So I know that going into the shop, or going into any shop, going into anything, you'd like to know what the people you are going to be working with are like, or who are going to be teaching you, or even for teachers, like it'd be interesting to know like what your students will be like. Of course, we can't interview every student because that would just not be okay.
That's a lot of students.
It's like there's like 1,000 students at the school.
That's awful. That's so many students.
Anyway, it's just always nice to know what you're gonna be doing and who you're gonna have, and what the person that you're going to be working with for an entire year is gonna be like. That's kind of the inspiration for why we're doing these.
It's a long time.
An entire year? Oh yeah, 180 days of 6 hours a day, stuck in this building.
This is our show. This is what we do. We talk a lot.
Before we get into our today's guest, I have a question for you, Ray.
Okay, what's up?
What is in real life? What is the closest thing to real magic?
Dogs.
Dogs?
Dogs.
Explain.
They're like heaven in a small, like, fluffy body. Like, how do you do that? Like, I love dogs.
Okay, that's the closest. No. What is the closest thing to real magic?
Right, but like, it is magic.
Listen.
The way
Dogs are not magic. Dogs are nature.
The way dogs make me feel is magic. Because I love dogs, okay? They're so nice and
dogs
fluffy
are so
and sweet,
adorable.
And they're so... I love dogs.
Okay, anyway,
What's the closest thing to real magic for you?
For me, movies. Movies and books.
You're right. Transports you to a whole new
books.
world. That's really good.
Movies.
I love dogs more than I love books, but
okay, all right.
It's up there.
So yeah, to me, books. The difference between books and movies to me is the visual and audio thing, because books you create it yourself, but when you go to a movie, you have this just amazing dispersion of amazing video effects and amazing audio and amazing just movies. Sometimes they're not, but
yeah, sometimes they aren't that good. But
like
the good movies are so good. But our guest today, sorry for going on for so long. Our guest today is Miss Harper. We're really looking forward to it. She's fun to talk to.
We will.
So
we will talk to you after.
We'll see you after. Yeah.
Right, left, right.
Everyone has a talent. Everyone has a skill. There's room for everyone in this world, and ROTC is about leadership. It's about innate qualities that we all possess, and what this program does is it really brings out those qualities of everyone. It's an amazing thing to stand up here and look at young people and watch them progress.
We do physical fitness once a week, but we tell all the students, for everybody, just participate on the level that you can participate. Working with students, helping mentor those students that have goals of maybe going into the service, whether it's going off to college or just even getting a job, just working with them to aspire to achieve their goals.
After 3 or 4 years, you could just see people entirely come out of their shell and grow into these adults. At this level, dealing with 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, it's inspiring for me to sit here and watch that happen.
Hello. How has your day been?
That's a great question. I've had better. But it's okay. It's Monday.
Understandably so.
You interviewed me last time on Friday. That was a good day. Mondays are harder.
It was not an amazing day for us since we lost the audio, but
Well, we always have a chance to do it over again.
Mondays are always just annoying.
Mondays are always interesting.
Lots of songs have been written about bad Mondays.
Friday, I'm in love.
Friday is a good day.
But you didn't get my song reference.
I didn't. Anyway.
Never mind.
Maybe you guys could create a show called Monday.
That'd be interesting.
Ooh, and we just talk about crappy Mondays.
Right.
Hmm.
Everybody wouldn't feel so alone.
What if we're having like an amazing Monday?
Well, then you talk about it.
Right.
You just talk about your Monday. We could have it on Tuesday, and then you talk about your Monday.
We should have it at the end of the day Monday.
What would be fantastic about a Monday?
If you're hanging out with your friends, school is off, if you got a lot of work done.
Then
Getting
we wouldn't be
paid.
here
Feel
making a
good about-
podcast. Yeah, getting paid. Like
That's
you've got a
what-
check.
That's what you're doing.
A huge check. Yes, that is true.
I get paid on Wednesdays.
Aspire to be paid to do what you love.
Because I have a job.
Okay, I
Unlike
get it.
Connor.
I get it. I get it. I'm trying to get a job.
Alright, so first question. How long have you been working at Assabet?
I have been working here since 1994, so about 24 years.
It's crazy. I think my brother is 24.
Yes.
My
He's
brother is
25.
turning 21 in September.
My
Right.
brother's 25.
Right, exactly.
Which is crazy.
I've been
Jesus.
doing this longer. Well, can you imagine having a job that you love, that you really want to stay doing it?
Not really.
Up
Never-
until I had this job, I never felt that way. About every 5 years or so, he'd start saying, "I gotta
Coming
change
to
things
this
up."
school helped me realize what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
that's good.
I
Me too.
I don't think I would have ever started talking to the Air Force recruiter if I didn't come here.
Yeah,
I realized
I
a
never
lot
would have
more.
joined drama if I had gone to Marlboro.
I realized a
Oh,
lot
that's
more
good. Those are
coming
good.
here. Like what I'm able to do. Like even just being in here and having time honestly just having time off of academics to let your brain cool down.
Mhm.
And also doing something creative instead of focusing on all like knowledge. Because like obviously we do a lot of like knowledge stuff in here.
Right.
We're learning all the time, but like
But it's something you enjoy.
it's something we enjoy, and you
I
can
mean-
use your creativity.
I agree. So how
And
does that
there
tie
are
into
so
the military? You're going in the military?
Yeah, I've
Oh.
I actually he had to reschedule. But I was supposed to be going to see the recruiter on this Friday, but I'm going to be going next week instead.
Was that ROTC maybe? Your experience there?
Next week is your birthday week.
Next week is my birthday.
It
I
is?
could sign next
Are
week.
you an Aries?
I am.
Oh my gosh, that explains it.
Explains what.
Creative and very free-spirited and, you know, a little on the stubborn side.
A
A
little.
little.
But super creative. Aries are well known for their pioneering spirits.
Nice.
Scorpios are known for their killer instincts. They kill their children.
Wow.
Oh.
Right, they do.
I am.
That's a big difference.
Are
Are you
I know.
are you a Scorpio?
Are you Scorpio?
I'm Scorpio Sagittarius cusp.
Yeah,
I was born on the 22nd, so people put me in both. So
All right,
I'm both.
I'm with you, Adrien. I'm a Scorpio. That's why I know that about how lethal
what do
they
you
are.
know about Sagittarius?
What?
Sagittarius?
Sagittarius.
No, I'm a Scorpio.
My brother's a
Right, but what do you
Sagittarius.
know about Sagittarius?
Oh, I don't know much. I usually know a lot about the people that are close to me, what their signs are, because I'm always looking
Are
it
you
up.
trying to say that we're not close?
I'm just trying to say I didn't know when your birthday was.
This is hurtful. I'm hurt.
Sorry, I'm going to look it up. I'll get back to you tomorrow.
All right.
Full report. A 5-paragraph essay on my desk in the morning.
Proper punctuation.
MLA format, double space,
Right.
size 12 font. All right.
Times New Roman.
So now that we've determined I've been here longer than you've been born, pretty bad.
I thought you were 24.
Ha, ha, ha. Very good. Well, you know, being a shop teacher, you can't become a teacher until you're in your 30s because you have to have
like,
worked in the
that's-
industry for
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
I thought it was 10. Whatever. That would make more sense. 6.
Well, 6, yeah, I think,
And
unless
you have,
you
to,
change.
you have to
have
get
at
a teaching degree too.
Yeah, you do. But being a trade teacher, you have some time. They give you what's called a provisional certification. So if they really want you, they don't do it that much anymore, though. Back in 24 years ago, the older teachers, now I'm one of those, but I was a younger teacher once, and they were all retiring. So they would bring you in.
Works.
What?
It's generally how age works.
Yeah, you guys never get older, and I get older and older and older.
It's kind of
Well,
a ratio.
It is. It's all right. It's all right. Like I said, I like young people. I would prefer young people than adults.
All right, next question. Obviously, we know, but what shop are you a teacher in?
Design and visual communications.
What do you teach in the shop?
I teach a little bit of everything. This year is a change for me, like we were talking about, where, I have taught video, I've taught graphic design, I've taught web. But currently I'm trying to bridge the multimedia aspect of graphic design by partnering with Mr. May, so that we can make really skilled or create very skilled multimedia designers, so that they can be prepared wherever they are. So
Is that us?
yeah, having a knowledge of graphic design, typography, color theory, lighting, which transfers to photography. It really is a new frontier. Every year is a little bit different for me. Sometimes I'd rather, say, yes, I teach photography only, but this year I'm learning a lot from Mr. May and trying to really bring what I've always known into something that's a little bit new.
It's kind of interesting how how well things from certain things transfer over into other things. Like photography and video are very much alike, and I know that even editing with Photoshop and then going and editing in Premiere, it's very similar as with the tools and things and such. And then for me, I see it as Photoshop is like Premiere, and then After Effects is like Illustrator. It's a little more advanced and has more things to do and it does different things, but you can kind of work with both.
Adobe products are very similar, but their command keys are different, which annoys me to no end.
Between PCs and...
No, between just Adobe products.
Oh.
Because, I'll switch from, Photoshop to, Illustrator, and I'll try and use the space bar to, drag the document, and it'll just not do that, and I'm like, what?
Well,
What do
I'm
do?
going to tell you something, that's your preferences.
Yeah, that's you.
You're going to go in and reset your preferences.
I don't have the time for that. That's
Well,
effort.
when you get someone else's computer, the first thing you want to do is trash their preferences so that it gets reset to the factory default.
Painful.
So that space bar is a default. So there we go. Yes, Connor, I agree.
We already talked about this last time, but obviously we don't have it. So I think we were talking to Mr. Was it Mr. Whitney or Mr. May that mentioned
I
it?
think both of them mentioned it.
The fact that you used to be the head teacher. So
Yeah.
what was that like, and what was the transition like?
Oh, thank you for asking that. Well, when I first came, as I mentioned before, I was a younger teacher and I was coming out of industry. So my job at that time was creating a new shop, and a little bit different than what I just talked about. But I always envisioned video being part of the visual design world, and I knew that printing was going away. So that's what I was able to do as a lead teacher, was really create a program that was meeting the needs, and where not just myself but many of my colleagues and businesses were saying that graphic design and multimedia was going. And then as what are the promises I made, as I mentioned earlier too, when I first came here, I was young and everyone else was old, and I saw people holding on to jobs, leading departments when they really didn't, there was someone else in that department that probably could have done a better job. And that's what I saw happening. I didn't want to continue holding on to the lead teacher position when I saw that Mr. Whitney was going to bring it to another dimension with all of his skills. So I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I decided not to apply, and Mr. Whitney applied, and I think he's a really good lead teacher. And how it's changed for me is that I don't have as much responsibility. So it's... I don't have to fill up the paperwork, and I don't have to go all the meetings, so I can focus on growing something else rather than doing all that paperwork that Mr. Whitney doesn't mind doing. Plus, he's so talented. We love him.
What is your favorite part of being a teacher?
The students. I love being with young people who are in between. They're transitioning from a time where they're super maybe innocent and vulnerable, and then they're teenagers and they're real. They're like the best of adults, I think. The best part of adults.
What is your favorite part about being a shop teacher compared to being an academic teacher?
Oh my God. I have a very short attention span, number one. So I think that being able to teach kids what I was blessed with, sharing. I'm probably not saying this as eloquently as I would like. It's not about what I can do, really. It's not about me. It's more about the students and watching them grow and evolve. I just think that that's one of the greatest things of all, is watching them go from, like I just said, I'm repeating myself, but I love watching students grow. And you can see that in an academic, that's reflected in a grade, but it's not the same thing as watching them do something that they could probably make a living at. I just think that's so cool. And they can do it young.
It's definitely interesting. It's definitely a lot different than just a regular public school. I was talking to my friend the other day about, he goes to Hudson High, and he was talking about how he had midterms or something coming up. It was a couple months ago, and he's a sophomore. So I was like, "You guys have midterms? Like, don't you have MCAS?" He's like, "Yeah, we have both." I was like,
Ouch.
"Ooh,
Ouch.
we don't do that here." And then we started talking about how much more all the differences between, like, we have to learn the same stuff as them in half the time. Not even half the time, sometimes less.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on snow
Because
days
and term changes and things.
half
so
days, the arrangement of
it's
shop
crazy.
weeks.
Yeah,
because
people often don't think of that. That's true, Connor, that you're doing twice as much.
in half the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait 10 years from now to talk to you guys and find out how much your earning potential and your earning power has outstripped your
I have a
friends
feeling I'm
who
going to be
didn't
a
choose
much-
Assabet.
I have a feeling I'm going to be a much different person.
I don't know what I would have done if I had gone to Marlboro. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Because, like,
it's hard to
coming here,
envision.
I probably would've-
when I first got here, I thought I wanted to be a video editor.
Mm-hmm.
But more recently, I've discovered that I really want to be a technical stage director for, like, theater and all that. And I just, I never would have joined drama if it weren't for my seniors. And I never would have done video editing if I hadn't come here.
Cool.
So
And there's a
Like,
lot of
I-
opportunity for that.
which was the main reason I guess I came here, was because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So if I
Mhm.
had gone to Marlboro, I'm not sure what I would have ended up doing.
I honestly think I would have stayed back. I think I would be a sophomore again.
Oh,
I might have
God.
dropped out.
Thank
I might have
God you
taken
came
after
here.
my cousin and dropped out, because the stress of academics is
I agree.
I,
I agree.
it's hard.
It is hard.
It's crazy how I'm in one AP class, and it is just crazy to me how people can take like 4 AP classes and
Cough,
survive.
cough, Amber.
Amber,
I-
Dan Prefontaine is
Oh my
taking like
God.
4 next year. I'm
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
can't
do that. I can't. I had to drop out of my honors English class into a normal English class because I just have so much going on that I can't possibly do all that homework. How do you? Amber has straight A's.
Amber has
Straight A's. That
and
is
but don't you think that
terrifying.
people are different? Their brains are different, and
Yeah,
that's one of the
it's-
things.
Yes,
I
and
just-
which I understand, but
we're like the same person, so
yeah, we're pretty similar.
it's kind of scary.
But it's just my brain doesn't work like that, and it's interesting to try and figure out how their brain works,
Mhm.
because it's
Well, it's about memory. It's about retaining. If you're bored, you're not going to be able to. Some people can hang on to information that's just.
I mean, I can hang
Hanging
on
out
to
there.
hang on to information.
I-
I don't study for tests. I don't think it helps me. It's not.
Honestly, I think for me it makes it worse, because I'm trying to cram it all in, and I don't receive all the information.
It's just not natural.
Yeah, well,
and it'll
how about
like
meaningful?
I'll drop the middle of a formula or something, but I think that if I just kind of learn it over the course of the class and then take the test, I have always done that better. And then there are the people who just like cram the night before the test, and I'm like, isn't that like bad?
Right. What will they remember?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't personally like science.
I love physics. I don't like science that much. I love physics.
I'm not doing very good in my science class, but it's because I'm
not passionate about
always bored.
Yeah.
I am the same way. No matter what's being said, I am just constantly bored.
I think that there's been a huge, like, my grades have gone up significantly this year, which is really interesting. And I think that the difference between this year and last year is that I had teachers who worked the way my brain works. Mm-hmm. So that's like,
that's a really good thing.
It's interesting to see the difference between like classes that work with you versus classes that work at you.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it takes a lot of experience. I still think, I've been doing this a long time. There's still a lot to learn about how to adapt and how to find the most interesting ways to present something, even though you're interested in it. I mean, when you say you're bored in a class, so how does it feel to you when someone's bored by you?
I don't know how to handle it, honestly.
Yeah,
when
it's like,
bored
geez, I'm so interesting. How can anybody be bored?
No, I actually had that exact problem. It was a much different environment. I was the talent show. At the very end of the talent show, I had to basically entertain until the judges were done figuring it out, and they were gone for so long.
Yeah, that's tough.
I was doing good at first, and then I didn't know.
Petered off towards the end.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Like at that point,
that's
like,
a terrible situation to be in.
And I was like, I don't know how to entertain these people.
That's real improv.
And it's difficult because it's more difficult than if you had to entertain someone at a play, because people came to this to see many different things, but if you're going to see a play, you can kind of go in one area of something and entertain someone for a good amount of time, which is a lot different than the talent show.
Yeah.
Could you share an example of how you helped coach or mentor someone towards their better self, I guess, and what improvements did you see in the person's knowledge or skills?
That's a really good question. There's been so many kids in so many years, and there's various degrees of success. Like there's an official mentoring where the school has a program, and I've been part of that. Where you have specific times to meet with someone, and then the end result is getting them to graduate.
Yeah, Mr. May talked about that too.
Yeah. So I enjoy doing that. I mean, I think everybody needs a champion, but I always think of mentoring as, there have been kids, like we were just talking about, that don't really believe in themselves. They don't think that what they do is very good. So I see my job as, always finding the good in them and reminding them what they can do beyond grades. But I think, there's just been, what happens as a teacher is years later, people come out and they, being on Facebook, I get it all the time. Well, I shouldn't say all the time, but pretty regularly. Someone will reach out and say, oh, I miss you and thank you so much and you helped me. And sometimes you're helping people and you don't even know it. So that's probably not a very direct answer, but I can't think of any single person that I kind of saved or, they were going down like they weren't talented and suddenly they became talented. It's more a matter of identifying their skills and their learning style, like you talked about, and doing the best you can to kind of accommodate them. So I'm sorry, that's probably not the best mentor story ever, but...
No, it works. You got the point. across.
Can you share with us an experience that you had dealing with a difficult person and how you handled it?
I love those questions. You know, that's a really good interviewing question. To ask people, it tells a lot about them. So I'm super, like, supersonic sensitive. So people may not even realize they're being difficult, and I feel that they're being difficult because I always want everyone to be okay. But I have learned a lot about when somebody's being difficult, they have a need that's not being met, and it's probably something that it may or may not have something to do with you. But what I try to do, my technique is try to listen and observe, and also put my ego aside. If they're being particularly difficult towards me, being sensitive is sometimes difficult because I'll feel bad. But as a mentor and as a leader and as somebody who's trying to set an example, I never write anybody off. So working with someone who's difficult, in some ways I think about them more, and I will try just that much harder to find out what it is they need and see if I can help them out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you share an experience in which you had successfully shared a difficult piece of information?
Well, we talked. There's different. You know, in my job, there's difficult information like telling someone that their design could be improved, or telling someone that they're not going to get a good grade. That's difficult information. But personally, I have my second son is suffers from a pretty severe mental illness, which this school actually helped me realize what was happening. I had no idea. When he was in high school, things were going bad. And you tend to, as a parent, think that maybe you did something to cause them to be behaving the way they are, and then you don't want people to think that you can't do your job because of that. So difficult. It's difficult to share the information about someone that you care about. And in this case, it's mental illness because there's such a stigma around it. So I've decided to just not dwell on it, but be open, and do the best job I can given the circumstances, because things go sideways quite regularly with him.
All right. Do you want to do that one? Because we skipped yours.
Some people think that Design Visual is not a productive shop. How do you try and combat this thinking?
That's an excellent question. Other teachers will actually kid us about Disneyland. How are things going down there in Disneyland? And
I've never heard that one.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I don't find it particularly complimentary.
Well, yeah, I get it.
I think that I've had to describe or explain how creativity works, and creativity has, something can be happening inside your brain, and you can't really see it happening. You're coming up with an idea, you're doing research. There's a time where when you're coming up with solutions, we are really learning how to be creative people. And creativity doesn't have a finite picture to it, and it doesn't look like anything that people can see until it's done. So that's what I say. I would say that creativity is something that you can't always see, and there's some times where it looks like there's nothing happening, but they might really be thinking about something else. They might be coming up with an idea. Some of the most creative agencies in the world have basketball hoops and furniture to sit on, and dartboards and lunches and all these things that look like that people are pretty chilling, but they are incubating ideas. So that's what I say.
I definitely like that idea about the basketball hoop.
I do too.
Well, it helps you get energy out, and I think that's definitely helpful for the creative process, is taking breaks and allowing your mind to relax.
There's
and
a certain
think of ideas,
There's a certain, I guess, stigma that kind of is like with creative things, like creative shops.
Yep, I agree.
that we just don't do work. Like I know CPWD has like a couch and like lounge chairs, and they have like a little spot to like relax. And people who don't understand exactly what they're for think that it's just there, like it's just like a lounge space where they're not doing work.
Right.
But you can get mentally burnt out from from the amount of creative thinking that's going on when we do these things. Like, how long has it taken us to get this recorded?
Easily a couple months. And I always find that the best times to record are after lunch, because we've all just taken a break and we're all like in a state of mind that we're having fun. And I think there's a lot of stigma around just letting yourself relax in general. You always feel like you're not being productive and you could be doing more. But there's something to be said for letting yourself relax and taking a break and just like letting yourself have fun instead of always working. Because your mental health is also something that it's not just your creative work that is like not being benefited by constant work. It's also your mental health is being put on the line.
You know, I would have to say that it's one of the things that I struggle with, because having run a business and, you know, writing out paychecks, and there's just a different way. I always think of like, would I want to write out a paycheck? And that's not always the best way on every day to think about it. So on one hand, I guess I'm talking out of the side of my mouth, because I'm saying, yeah, I believe in creativity, and I know it takes time and it doesn't always look right. And yet I think I'm probably the one of the three of us that's more like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, a lot of us do get off track, so it does help.
It's a balance. It's a balance.
Get a little reminder that we still have to do work.
I just want everybody to make a lot of money. That would make me so happy, like successful and making good money at being creatives. You know, and that's what we sell is our time. You know, it's you know, people aren't just going to pay you for your time, but it's the time you spend thinking on their behalf and creating things on their behalf. So I would like everybody to be able to make good money. Because
if you have a solid idea, it could take you 20 minutes to get a thing done. Like,
yeah, but you're going to charge them a fee that's...
Yeah, I know. I'm saying for the creative thought that goes into it. Right. You spend more time planning than actually doing. I can definitely...
Unless you're an illustrator, right?
Well, yeah.
Or editors. Editors spend an awful lot of time, like, you know.
Crossing out, rewriting.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get back on track a little bit.
Moving on to the second to last question. What would you tell someone who says they can't be in a creative shop because they aren't creative enough?
Well, I think that everyone is creative. I think that we're all born creative, that we all, you know, just have a natural instinct to explore and to express ourselves. What happens, and, you know, as you grow up, you start having to go to school and, you know, coloring in the lines and following rules, and no, that's not right. As soon as people start telling you that it's not right or it's not good, those are creativity killers. So I would say that the best thing that you can do is remember yourself as a child and say, yeah, I can be creative. People often associate creativity with drawing. And I think that that's one of the things that you just have to get off the table right away. You know, it doesn't matter that you don't know how to draw per se. What matters is that you are a good thinker and that you believe in yourself.
I
Creativity
have absolutely
is very much
zero idea how to draw. I'm an awful artist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best. I can do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I'm not an illustrator.
No, I'm definitely more of a hands-on creative. Getting down and doing it, kind of.
Yeah, but don't you think that you're always kind of vulnerable a little bit? Like, you're really putting yourself out more than any other field. It's like our ideas come from inside of us, and people can go, I don't like that. You know, you have to really be willing to...
In other shops, there's more of a physical vulnerability, but or a physical...
saying you're not good at making something, but, I mean, ideas are just as much other shops as well as ours.
I know
it's a little bit different though, because they get told what to make and then they put their own spin on it versus
we create a lot
creating-
of our own ideas.
Yeah.
Like this. That's why it's taking a little bit longer for you guys to do it, because you're creating something new in this space.
We're doing
Speaking-
something that's never been done before.
Right.
Speaking of
How could that
creating
not be
this,
terrifying?
Mm-hmm.
what do you think about these podcasts?
I think that they're really important. It's state of the art in that we're using audio, which is a little bit different, not using audio and video. But boy, do we have so many stories to tell. And this is a really nice format to allow people to tell their stories and use our
Definitely.
skills. I think it will make you also better audio visual. Once you add the visual on, your audio
we
sensitivity
definitely-
gets higher.
We definitely are going to start applying a visual aspect to this once we get it rolling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of, add, that's what I mean by bringing all these disciplines together. We have a lot of different kinds of creative talent in this room. So, yeah, I think it's really good, and I really applaud you guys for doing it and moving forward and making it happen. I think it's great. The great thing is it's not a teacher telling you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another different thing about our shop is that
we kind of took our live streaming and went to another level where we made it simpler but also more complicated at the same time. We simplified the actual technical piece, but the literal complexity of getting you guys here and planning it all and writing questions is a lot more complex than live streaming, where you have a set time and you do it as you do it. This is more, obviously we've been recording for 35 minutes, and
Right.
a lot of it
man.
has been a lot
That's
of off
longer
topic.
than our show is supposed to go. And
do you guys,
that's with
are
all
you going to
three of
edit
them.
it?
Yep, of
Yeah,
course, yeah.
yeah,
So
heavily.
a lot of the stuff we talked about has been off topic, but not totally off topic to where it's unusable. It's enough on topic that it's useful information that can be used.
Yeah. Well, I look forward
It's
to
useful.
more programs that we can create. I definitely think this is something that feels good. It feels right. It feels important.
Yeah.
So
We're very
congratulations.
excited to get this stone rolling.
Mhm.
I'm glad we.
I like that you branded it.
Yeah. I think that was my favorite part.
Great. We got to get some signage out. I know. It's a great logo. Very
I
nice.
like it.
All right.
I like it too.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Miss
Well,
Harper.
thank
it was
you very
wonderful
much.
talking to you.
It was nice talking to you. Nice talking to you.
All right.
Have a nice day.
I
We
shall.
will see you later.
Have you ever wanted to visit Iceland or Greece? Well, you're in luck, because here at Assabet Valley we have the Travel Club, run by Miss McCann. The Travel Club allows you to sign up for these trips to other countries currently headed towards Iceland. While the Iceland trip is almost full, it certainly won't be your only opportunity. Talk to Miss McCann in the math wing if you're interested.
That was so much fun.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was a really cool.
That was a
that
great.
was a cool conversation. I had a lot of fun doing that.
We went on a couple rambles,
Uh,
little
uh,
tangents, but
we went on like 3 different tangents for a while there,
But
it was fun.
it
And you know what?
was-
It
that's-
helped people get to know Miss Harper.
that's the point of these.
Exactly.
If you the more
the
honestly,
more you ramble, the better it is. Honestly.
not necessarily.
Well, I
The
suppose
amount of rambling is honestly like a way to judge like who a person, not judge, to figure out the type of person that your teacher is. So like if you're watching this and you want to come in design and visual, great teachers, amazing job teaching, amazing job just being people.
Great junior year students. That Connor O'Hare and Adrien McCarthy.
Oh, great kids,
Great guys. Love them.
And I wish I could work with them.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun talking to them. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did, and we both hope that you had a wonderful day.
You forgot about a lot of things.
We both enjoyed that a lot, but also there were all the people that helped us put together this episode.
So, like last episode, we obviously want to thank each other. We both worked a lot on both of these. This one, the last one, and the one after this. We also want to thank our teacher and producer, Mr. May. Great teacher. He's amazing. We just want to thank him for, one, even letting us do this, and two, for helping us out in any way we have needed. We also want to thank Andy Dolan. He is the studio manager for this back room, and honestly, this side of the shop. He's like basically taken over in a good way.
Yeah.
He makes sure everything is so organized and when it can be. Obviously, we're kind of on construction, getting some new lights, so it's a little messy, but for a good reason. But definitely, he helped organize the backroom schedule with other shows that will be going on back here, like Boston Sports Talk, there's already an episode out of that, which was all freshmen.
That's amazing. How
amazing.
quickly they got it out.
Ours was a little bit harder because we had to
We had a bit
with the
more
schedule with
processes.
teachers, and yeah.
But that's
But they great job
not,
to them.
Not to talk any bad about them, they did a lot of work, and I think it's really cool what they did.
If you're walking by the hallway and you look on the wall, there should be a couple logos up on the wall, including the Pod, Boston Sports Talk, all the different shows that we're working on. Mr. May talked to me about doing that, putting our logos up on the wall out there.
Awesome.
So that will be cool.
Yeah.
But
All right. So we also Eric Quay once again helping us out with those ads.
and just in general creativity,
Yeah,
he's helpful.
He does a lot of work for us. How does he
Not-
do
not
that?
for- well, not for us, with
but
us.
With us. But like he does so much
So
of his
much.
own work, and he helps out other people.
It's crazy.
Like, he does a lot. How does he do that?
I applaud.
Me too. Me too.
Golf clap. Yeah. We also going on to ads. We don't exactly know what ads you heard right now because we haven't edited. But
We
I'm
haven't fully put it
guessing.
together yet.
I'm guessing.
But it'll probably be the theater club ad
Theater club,
and the culinary ad,
maybe.
which Andy is putting together for us.
We shall see.
Um,
Either way, we want to thank everyone who helped us with the ads. If it's the drama one, we talked about it last episode. If it's the culinary one, obviously we want to thank
Andy
culinary and Andy.
culinary and everyone who
for
worked on
everyone
it.
who worked
with
on
him
it.
for that.
I just want to be thankful.
Yeah,
All right.
Our
It's like-
our shop and our school, really great place.
Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you guys did enjoy this. If you do, go check out the first episode, which was Mr. May, our video teacher, and go check out next episode, which will be
Mr. Whitney.
the head teacher of design and visual. And then after that, we're gonna start doing some academic teachers and some other shops. So look forward to that, and have a good one.